My wife woke me up, saying someone was in our house. I collapsed onto the couch, exhausted. I kicked off my work boots and sprawled out like a pig. Linda hated it whenever I left my dirty boots lying around. She was always telling me to either put them away, leave them on, or do something with them before they ended up in the trash. But Linda wasn't home. We've been married for 7 years, and everything we have, we built together. A few years ago, Linda started her own accounting firm. It does pretty well, and on top of that, she helps me stay on top of my own paperwork. As for me, I've been running my own electrical maintenance business for the past 3 years. I spent years working in industrial maintenance before I learned enough to go out on my own. Things took off so well that I even had my own branded work shirts made. J-Tech, and I'm not saying it made me a millionaire, but Linda and I never really wanted for anything. We bought a quiet little house in the suburbs, worked hard, and built a good life together. By the time I turned 37, I honestly couldn't have asked for more. With Linda off at her weekly Pilates class, I was stretched out in the living room, demolishing a frozen lasagna. She hated when I ate that kind of crap. But today was my cheat day. And besides, if she didn't see it, she couldn't complain about it. When I finished dinner, I wandered into the kitchen for a can of soda, then quietly disposed of the evidence in the trash can outside so there'd be no sign a frozen lasagna had ever existed. On my way back, I noticed the little purple sticky note on the refrigerator. I'm gonna be a little late tonight. We're doing a double session. Eat something healthy. Purr, I puffed out my chest. Who needs healthy? Then, like a mischievous little kid who'd just gotten away with something, I shuffled back into the living room and dropped down in front of the TV. I loved Linda. She was the light of my life. But those damn sticky notes were going to be the death of me. I sprawled out on the couch. After busting my ass all week, it felt amazing to finally relax. I knew Linda would be gone for at least another 2 or 3 hours. With a double Pilates class, she and her workout friends would probably grab coffee afterward or something. I knew Linda too well, just like she knew me. I was certain that if she came home and found me like this, she'd chew me out like I was some lazy teenager. Unfortunately, exhaustion and a World War II documentary marathon won. The last thing I remember was my eyelids getting heavier and heavier. Then I was out. I woke up to someone yanking me off the couch. My hip slammed into the hardwood floor with a loud crack. Half asleep and completely disoriented, I opened my mouth to start cursing when a small, soft hand clamped over it. "Jamie," Linda whispered, "there's someone in our house." My vision finally cleared as my brain caught up with reality. The house was dim now. Evening had settled in. Linda was crouched beside the couch, hiding. Her face was pale with fear as she stared at me. My mind struggled to process what the hell was happening. "Jamie," she whispered again, more urgently this time. "Someone came through our front door, looking for you." I rubbed my eyes and carefully peeked over the back of the couch. Someone was standing by the front door. They had just locked it behind them. Then they dropped something onto the floor. A duffel bag? Maybe a backpack? "What the fuck?" I muttered under my breath. "Who is that, Linda?" "I don't know. The door just opened," she answered, her voice tight with fear. "Go see." Ah, shit. I swallowed hard. Slowly, I pushed myself up from behind the couch. I grabbed the TV remote like it was an actual weapon and cautiously crept toward the figure by the front door. One slow step after another. The person picked something up and tossed it onto the small entryway cabinet. It rattled like a set of keys. Then they flipped on the lights. "Oh my God, Jamie, what are you sneaking around in the dark for?" Linda laughed, because standing in the doorway was Linda. She was still wearing her workout clothes, her long brown hair tied up in a messy bun, smiling at me while I pointed the TV remote at her like an idiot. "Linda?" I asked, blinking back and forth between them. "Yeah?" The Linda by the front door answered, giving me a suspicious look. "Jamie?" The Linda behind the couch asked, her voice trembling. "Who is it?" "What?" I stammered. "What is this, Linda?" "Jamie, what the hell is wrong with you?" The Linda by the door asked with an awkward smile. "Why are you staring at the couch?" "How are you over there and over here?" I muttered, pointing the TV remote back and forth between the couch and the front door. "Jamie?" The Linda behind the couch whispered louder this time. "What's going on? Who's there?" "Linda?" The one by the door asked, confused. "Yeah?" They both answered at the exact same time. I thought I was going to pass out. How could there be two of my wife? Which one was real? And why couldn't they hear or even notice each other? "Jamie, would you tell me what the hell is going on?" The Linda by the door said as she stepped closer and peeked behind the couch. "You're seriously freaking me out." I backed away, toward the kitchen. I couldn't make sense of any of it. "Jamie, honey, what's wrong?" Linda asked as she followed me. "How can you—" I breathed, my chest tightening. "How can you be in two places at once? What the fuck is this?" "What do you mean, two places?" Linda asked, blinking in confusion. "Jamie, what's wrong with you? You're scaring me." "No," I snapped, pointing at her. "Stay right there, please. Why are there two of you?" The Linda behind the couch just stared at me in terror. The one by the front door looked completely stunned. I had never yelled at Linda before. Sure, we'd argued over the years, but we always worked things out. This was different. It felt like I was hallucinating. My wife had somehow become two people. "No," I whispered. "No, I have to be dreaming." I spun around like a madman and rushed through the living room into the kitchen. "Jamie?" Both Lindas called after me in perfect unison. I ignored them. I had to get away. I had to wake up. I wanted to open my eyes back on the couch, groggy from an accidental nap. Instead, my world shattered even further. The moment I burst into the kitchen, Linda was standing there. She was calmly chopping vegetables. Then she looked up at me and smiled. "Looks like you're finally awake," she said, never stopping her slicing. I couldn't say a word. I just stood there, listening to my heartbeat quicken until it almost matched the steady rhythm of the knife striking the cutting board. "What?" Linda asked suspiciously. "Why are you looking at me like that?" I didn't know what to say. I could have told her there were two more of her outside, but nothing was certain, except for one thing. This had to be a nightmare. "Jamie?" Linda put her hands on her hips like a disappointed mother. "Don't tell me you ate that frozen crap again." I frowned and stared at her. Whatever this was, a dream, a hallucination. It was unbelievably detailed. "How did you get in here?" I asked, my voice already turning angry. "What?" Linda frowned. "What do you mean? How did I get in here? I live here, with you." "No," I hissed. Who are those people out there? Why are there so many of you? I watched the expression on her face change. The playful annoyance disappeared, replaced by genuine fear. At that moment, the kitchen door slowly creaked open behind me. Another Linda peeked inside. The same one who had been standing by the front door. "Jamie, what are you doing?" she asked nervously. "Jamie," the Linda in the kitchen whispered, startled. "The door, it opened by itself." Both of them looked at me, confused, scared, searching my face for answers I didn't have. I could feel my sanity beginning to slip away. "Shut up!" I snapped. "Both of you, shut the fuck up!" The madness kept tightening around me. I had to wake up. This had to be a dream. It had to be. A scream shattered the silence. Linda screamed. A scream full of pain, full of terror. "Linda!" I shouted. "Jamie!" both Lindas said at the exact same time, fear filling their voices. "Not you!" I yelled, pointing at them. Another scream echoed through the house. It sounded like Linda was screaming in agony. "Linda!" I shouted, panic taking over. "I'm coming! Linda, where are you?" I bolted out of the kitchen through the other doorway leading into the hallway. The Linda in the kitchen watched me in stunned silence, her face drained of color. The other Linda stood frozen in the doorway, just as pale, staring at me like I was the one who'd lost my mind. Then I ran into the hallway and found another Linda. She was leaning against the little entryway table. I could see the rage burning across her face. She looked like she was 1 second away from exploding. "Linda?" I asked again in disbelief. "Is that you?" "Yeah," she answered coldly. "What? Were you expecting someone else, you fucking piece of shit? Huh? Were you hoping your little slut would show up instead? The one you've been screwing around with, you fucking asshole?" She grabbed the small table lamp and hurled it at me. "What the fuck?" I shouted, barely ducking out of the way. "Linda, have you lost your mind?" "Oh, shut the fuck up," she screamed. "I know you're cheating on me. I saw that little bitch you've been sneaking around with. I know everything." I stammered, completely lost. "What are you talking about? What the fuck are you even talking about?" "You can't do this to me," she screamed. "You are not going to do this to me." Then she reached over, grabbed the long-handled scissors from the table, and my blood ran cold. "Linda," I muttered, barely able to breathe. "What are you doing?" "Go to hell," Linda said, as tears began streaming down her face. After all these years, how could you do this to me? You fucking pig. I didn't know what to think anymore. What was I even looking at? Was this really a dream? Or some kind of sick joke? Why were there so many versions of my wife? Why was every single one of them different? "Jamie?" Linda asked through her tears, pointing the scissors at me. "How could you?" "I didn't do anything," I snapped. "I don't even know what you're Shut up," she screamed. "The least you could do is admit it, you asshole." "I don't know what you're talking about," I yelled, taking a step toward her. "Stay back!" She swung the scissors wildly. I jumped backward in panic. At this rate, she was actually going to stab me. "Linda, God damn it," I said, forcing myself to stay calm. "I don't know what this is about. Do you understand?" "You know what, Jamie?" the furious Linda interrupted. There was something burning behind her tear-filled eyes. I had never seen Linda look this terrifying, and I'd never cheated on her. Not once. "You know what?" she continued. "I think you'd be better off dead." Then she raised the scissors above her head and charged at me. I didn't have a choice. The staircase behind me was my only way out. I spun around, took the steps 2 at a time, and bolted upstairs. Linda came after me like a complete psychopath. I sprinted down the hallway toward our bedroom. She was only a few steps behind. My heart felt like it was about to explode. I was certain that if she caught me, and she'd bury those scissors in me. I threw myself through the bedroom door and slammed it shut behind me. The lock clicked. The enraged Linda was left on the other side. "Ach, Jamie?" A weak voice came from somewhere inside the room. "Is that you?" I froze. It was Linda's voice, weak, exhausted. I slowly turned around. Linda was lying in bed. Her back was propped up with pillows. Tubes from some kind of medical machine disappeared into her thin, bony arm. Linda. She looked like a skeleton. Her once beautiful face was gaunt. Dark circles hollowed out her eyes. Her skin had a sickly yellow tint, and her gaze was distant and unfocused. Her long brown hair was gone. The nightstand beside her was covered with bottles of medication. "Linda," I whispered, struggling to breathe. "What happened to you?" "Jamie," she replied with a faint smile. "Don't you remember? I'm dying." "No," I said, staring at the skeletal, hollow-faced Linda. "No, you're not dying. No." Linda simply gave me a weak smile. I could see the exhaustion on her face, the acceptance. "Jamie," she whispered sleepily. My eyes filled with tears. My vision blurred. I was one breath away from breaking down, not just because of this insane situation, or because this was already the 5th Linda I'd seen in less than 10 minutes, but because of what I was looking at. My wife, lying on her deathbed, still smiling at me with the same beautiful smile she was supposed to have. "No," I repeated, tears running down my face. "Linda, my Linda isn't dying." Linda blinked at me in confusion. She looked exhausted, completely bewildered by my outburst. "Jamie?" she asked softly. "We've already talked about this. The doctor told us I have a brain tumor. I'm not going to survive." "Shut up!" I screamed at the poor woman. "You're not real! None of this is real!" Linda simply stared at me in complete shock. My mind couldn't process any of it anymore. I completely snapped, like a terrified wild animal backed into a corner. In a fit of rage, I swept everything off the dresser. Linda's jewelry box crashed to the floor, sending necklaces and rings scattering across the room. Tears streamed down my face. Panic, confusion, rage. It all blurred together until I couldn't think anymore. This wasn't real. Linda wasn't dying. I had to get out. Then something crossed my mind. Maybe it wouldn't get me out of this nightmare, but at least it could protect me if things got even worse. Linda watched me from her deathbed, confused and pleading, unable to understand what was happening. I stormed across the bedroom and into the walk-in closet. Before closing the door, I took one last look at Linda, at the tears in her eyes, at the woman dying in my bed. I wiped my own eyes. Then, without saying a word, I locked myself inside the closet. The small ceiling light barely illuminated the cramped walk-in closet, packed wall to wall with clothes. Having a walk-in closet had always been Linda's dream. A while back, I'd sectioned off part of the bathroom to build one for her. The closet even had its own door leading back into the bathroom. I thought it was practical. Linda loved it. My Linda did. Not these strange copies. Muttering to myself, I started throwing Linda's shoes and clothes out of the way. I was looking for the small safe, the one with the handgun I'd bought a while back. I'd never been much of a gun guy, but about 6 months earlier, the neighbors had started talking about strange people wandering around the neighborhood. I'd even caught someone standing in our backyard once, peeking toward the house. That was enough for me. I finally decided we needed something for protection. After what felt like forever, I found the safe. The combination was simply Linda's birth year followed by mine. A simple code from simpler times. The moment the safe clicked open, I grabbed the pistol, then the magazine. I always kept them stored separately. It felt safer that way, even if it would cost me a few precious seconds in an emergency. The moment I slammed the magazine into the grip, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, like the gun itself was an anchor to the reality I knew. The one where Linda and I were happy, healthy, normal. The feeling lasted all of 1 second. A soft knock came from the closet door. "Jamie, are you in there?" Linda asked quietly from the other side. I flinched and immediately aimed the pistol at the door. I didn't trust anyone anymore, especially not any version of Linda. "Jamie, damn it, are you in there?" she called again. "Please answer me." This Linda sounded different. She wasn't weak and exhausted like the one lying in bed. She wasn't hysterical like the one convinced I'd cheated on her. This Linda sounded urgent, like something important couldn't wait another second. "Jamie, she called impatiently. "What do you want?" I asked, never lowering the gun. "Oh, finally," she sighed. "They're here to see you. Can you come out?" "What?" I frowned. "Who's here?" "How should I know?" Linda replied, sounding almost annoyed. "They're asking for you. That's all I know. I've never seen them before. Come out and talk to them." I didn't answer. I just swallowed hard. Who was looking for me? What did they want? More Lindas? I stood there, trembling, waiting to see if she'd say anything else. If anything else would happen. Instead, silence. I couldn't stay inside that closet forever, just sitting there, waiting for whatever came next. I holstered the pistol in my waistband, dropped to all fours, and quietly crawled toward the door leading into the bathroom. My plan was simple. Go through the bathroom, get downstairs, get out of the house. I had to leave all of this behind. One more twisted version of Linda, and I was going to lose my mind. Finally, after crawling across the floor like a damn toddler, I reached the door. I grabbed the handle and pushed it open. What waited for me inside the bathroom was hell itself. Our bathtub was filled to the brim with filthy crimson water, and floating in it was Linda, pale, lifeless. Her arms drifted weightlessly across the surface, both wrists slashed wide open, the water around her stained with her blood. My heart nearly stopped. The words caught in my throat. I just stood there, frozen, staring at my dead wife. "Linda," I whispered, completely numb. My wife. The only woman I had ever loved. The woman I would have done anything for. She lay dead in the bathtub of our own home. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? My knees buckled. The room started spinning. I couldn't breathe. Gasping for air, pale as a ghost, I stumbled toward the small bathroom window. I didn't care anymore. I'd climb out the window, slide down the gutter if I had to, get to Linda. And we'd never come back to this house again. My shaking hands finally managed to unlock the frosted window. The moment I pushed it open, I thought I was going to die. The backyard was full of people, as far as I could see. Dozens of them, hundreds, maybe, men of every kind. But they weren't strangers. Every single one of them was me. Every last one. There was a doctor, a soldier, a man in a wheelchair, a prisoner in an orange jumpsuit. One was bald. Another had only one arm. One stood there holding a white cane for the blind. Another was missing half his head, blood covering the lawn beneath him. Yet, he simply stood there, waiting. Then there were the ones who looked exactly like me. Same work clothes. Some had longer beards. Some looked older. But every single one of them was Jamie. Not one of them moved. They simply stood there staring at the house, like mannequins waiting on an assembly line, like they were all waiting for their turn. What the actual fuck? I could barely force the words out. My doubles continued staring silently at the house. The whole scene looked like something straight out of a nightmare, or the final frame of a horror movie. Then, I heard a familiar ringtone. It was coming from my back pocket, my work phone. Had it been there this whole time? Who could possibly be calling? With trembling hands, I pulled it out. The caller ID read, Linda. "Jamie, why aren't you answering your phone?" Linda asked cheerfully. "Linda?" I answered numbly. "Jamie?" She laughed softly. "Never mind. I guess you just woke up. I'm on my way home from Pilates. Need me to pick anything up?" Are you Linda?" I whispered. Yeah," she replied. Then I heard it. The moment her voice changed, she realized something was wrong. "Jamie, what's going on? Are you okay?" "Don't come home," I blurted out. "Stay where you are. Call the police or, I don't know. Just don't come home. Do you hear me, Linda? Please, please don't come home." "Jamie, Jesus Christ, what's going on?" she asked, panic filling her voice. "What happened? Say something." "I can't explain it," I said quietly. "Just, please trust me. Please. I love you." The moment I said those last words, my phone erupted into a deafening screech. It sounded like an ancient radio being dragged across every frequency at once. I jerked the phone away from my ear. It felt like something was tearing my soul apart. I knew the woman on the phone had been my Linda. The one I'd loved through everything. The one who belonged in my life. The screaming static continued. Then it slowly faded and another voice came through. "Jamie?" The voice was mechanical, emotionless. "Are you there, Jamie?" "What the fuck?" I whispered. "Finally," the male voice replied. I've reached you, Jamie. It sounded like I was talking to a machine, like some AI was stitching words together one sentence at a time. What is this? I demanded. Who are you? Jamie, I'm unable to answer that question, but I do have one question for you. For me? I asked. What? Jamie, how are you still alive? What the fuck? I shouted. What are you talking about? Who the fuck are you? Jamie, please remain calm. Something doesn't match. According to our records, you died 3 years ago. So, please, tell me, how are you still alive? I could only stare into space, completely numb. I had no idea what was happening, or why it was happening to me. But one thing I knew for certain. I wasn't dead.